Hey guys, it's Saturday, March 20th, 2021. This will be the first full day that we're fully on both sides of Coinbase. It's going to be a new era. Hope you're ready. Let's go. All right, so we are on not just Coinbase Pro, we are on Coinbase.com now. I think most people listening to this probably know the difference, but Coinbase Pro is an actual exchange with an order book. You've got people actually placing orders in the order book, limit orders and market orders, all that good stuff. It's a little bit more complicated. I think a lot of us who've been in crypto for a while, we're very, very accustomed to using order books, but the average person is not. I've received a lot of calls, emails from my friends. I mean, this has gone on always, even before Cardano, but especially in the last year, a lot of friends who are highly educated, who had no idea how to buy Cardano, and when it got down to it, they weren't really comfortable with using the order book on exchanges like Kraken and Binance. And I mean, super, you don't have to do much. It's pretty easy to walk them through it, but they were uncomfortable because they didn't really understand what was going on with the order book. They didn't really understand how limit and market orders worked. They didn't understand any of it. And honestly, they would have been, no matter how educated they would, unless they were familiar with it, they would have been more comfortable using something like the normal retail side of Coinbase, which is Coinbase.com. We're finally there, which is fantastic. It's kind of the beginning of a new era for Cardano. Like, what comes next could be significantly different than what's happened in the past just because we're now on Coinbase.com. I think Tim Harrison of Input Output Global had a tweet that perfectly summed up this week. He said, "Glass of nice red tonight, I think. Quite a week." That was pretty much perfect. It's this has been the culmination of a lot of hodling and waiting by all of us, and I'm sure it's even just that much more intensified for somebody inside IOG. I personally am drinking a little bit of Irish whiskey tonight, and I have to apologize. You probably hear kind of a sizzling noise in the background. That's some steak I've got over there on the burner and a bunch of spices. Smells delicious. Apologies if you're anti the eating of the meat, but I can assure you, all of the cows I eat are 100% vegan. The cows are vegan, so it's okay. So we're starting to see a lot of kind of the excitement and hyperbole that goes along with a rapidly expanding market cap. We saw this before in 2017. Everybody who lived through that era saw this kind of excitement and fervor. Today, there was a video going around. I think even Charles tweeted it. There's a video going around of a Christmas light display on a house, and the Christmas light was displaying something I never really thought that I would see in crypto, or a combination of things I never would have put together in my mind. But the lights were flashing, among other things, "Screw Dogecoin, ADA is best," and it was set to the original, very infectious Dogecoin music from that video with the little Shiba mining inside a cave, mining with a pickaxe and GPU miners. I think most people saw that at some point over the years. I think this is actually good. I think I think friendly rivalry is probably good in crypto, and the Dogecoin people are good-natured enough. I think it's okay for us to poke them a little bit. I'm sure they'll do it back. I think the interesting thing is going to be as Cardano starts coming to full fruition and we start seeing Cardano taking more and more market share, probably the other coin communities are going to bring the heat, and there's going to be a decent amount of rivalry. And you can argue in the past, Cardano has already been the target of a lot of negativity from other coin communities. Like, obviously the Ethereum guys don't want something like Cardano to come along and take up bigger and bigger chunks of this smart contract space that they currently sort of monopolize. So they're not going to be happy with this no matter what. But that's sort of their problem to deal with, not ours. But I think we're going to see more and more of that as we get bigger and bigger. So the most interesting thing from yesterday, today as you listen it will be Saturday, but the most interesting thing from Friday that went down, I thought, was Charles delivering kind of a video where he doubled down on some things he said before. Basically, he was reasserting this declaration that Cardano's defining moment will be when it can provide the rails for microfinance from the developed world to the developing world. And here's the important part: not as a form of charity, but as a profitable financial activity for both the lender and the loan recipient. Not in the sense that the loan recipient would make money off the loan itself, like the lender will in terms of interest, but in the sense that the loan recipient is going to take that money, take that capital. This will be an activity under the broad umbrella of capital formation, where the loan recipient will take that money, go out and build something awesome that will create wealth probably for that loan recipient and maybe other people. Maybe they go out and build something, a company or something, or an enterprise, and they employ even other people. So it's great for them, great for the people they employ. And Charles, I think, has hit on something important here. The West, you could argue that the West, when we do stuff like this, when we think about micro loans to the developing world, we think of it as a form of charity, which is kind of an arrogant way to approach it, right? It's kind of an arrogant way to approach it. I think this approach that Charles outlined is much, think about it as a mutually beneficial activity is a much more acceptable way to approach it. I think that the would-be loan recipients in the developing world will much more happily engage in something that's regarded as mutually beneficial for lender and loan recipient than they will for something that's sort of like something that's sort of painted in the broad strokes of a charitable activity. I like this better. I like the idea that the developing world, probably Africa in particular, is something that should be looked at as an opportunity, not as the target of charity. I like that future. I like that future where people are making microloans to African entrepreneurs, and they do it with a full expectation they're actually going to make money on the loans. I think a hell of a lot more loans get made that way than if it's painted as this charitable activity, which is the way it's largely been in the West up till now. So I'm super excited about that, and I like that kind of a metric. If that's Charles's metric for Cardano success, I like that, because if you've got that happening and a large volume of those types of micro financial transactions are happening, probably a lot of loans but other things as well, I like that metric for success, because he's playing the long game here. I mean, it's no secret the Cardano roadmap has not been perceived as the speediest roadmap. It's always been a long game, and I think everybody in the community knows you got in because you wanted to make a bet on the long game, and you looked at what they were doing and you thought to yourself, this is the best bet. This is the best bet, not for tomorrow, not for next month, but as part of a long game strategy. And I like that Cardano is still thinking that way. I like that they're still thinking long game. They're still thinking, hey, the most growth that will happen over the next couple of decades is going to be in the developing world, and Africa should be a prime player in that. I like that Cardano is still focused on the long game. Even though we're above $1 now, we're on Coinbase, both sides, they're still thinking long game, and that's comforting for sure. The next item we've got on the list here, so Peter Nerup on Twitter, I am absolutely positive I'm completely butchering that name. So apologies, Peter, but thank you so much for creating this sort of view into what's happening right now in Cardano adoption. You can see, I think probably the easiest to consume metric here is that we've got 8,000 new wallets being created every day. I mean, you can argue some of these are probably previous Cardano holders just creating new wallets, but a lot of those are brand new wallets. I mean, these are people jumping into Cardano for the first time, and it's easy to forget that network effect is very significant for crypto, just like it is for everything else in technology. Like, we sort of gloss over network effect, but I think it's pretty easy to observe a direct correspondence in a lot of cases between the size of a network, even in crypto, and the value of that network. You know, I mean, you ask yourself, what are the two crypto projects that a random person on the street is most likely to have heard of? They're Bitcoin and Ethereum, and maybe Dogecoin now with all of Elon's involvement in Dogecoin. But prior to that, it's going to be Bitcoin and Ethereum, and not shockingly, those are the two projects with the largest market cap. So the fact that we're seeing 8,000 new wallets created every day, a large number of those are going to be brand new people, brand new people buying stuff on Coinbase and becoming a part of this network, for the first time. I think this is big. This is a new era. This is a new era for Cardano, one we've been waiting for a long time. I hope you guys all enjoy it as much as I will, and I'll see you tomorrow.